only 12 inches. I think 6 inches. That would be too much of an overhang. How wide is it? Maybe 5 inches. No way, it's gonna be perfect. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Okay, so we have to do some rearranging. My house is not quite as spacious as the house I was dog sitting at, unfortunately. So I also got the new vacuum hose thing. So I'll be using that later as well. Oh, it's nicely dry. Needs to finish drying. Clothes need to go on bed. Okay. Let me shut the door, keep my dog outside. Okay, so what I have to do is move all this stuff. And I wanted to see if I could get this thing perhaps behind this dresser. If I could get this behind the dresser, I could then utilize all the pegboards. And I think that would be a great idea. And I feel like if I do it right, I can get the pegboards to make an L shape around my desk here, which would, I need to get rid of that table. That's final. Need to get rid of a little blue half circle table. Oh, I've been so ready to do this for days. And I've just been unable to because I'm not home. Okay, leave that there for now. We'll put this on his bed as well. Okay, just make sure he hasn't peed on anything while I was gone, because dogs do that sometimes. All right, all those things are there. Put the books back. Don't need them anymore. We are going to do this carefully so that we don't lose track of the desk. AKA meeting. Yay, there goes here. They both work. I don't think they do. I think they're broken for some reason. I can't remember why I feel like that. I need to go light. I'm backwards. That's why. Thanks for not working while I did it the wrong way. Couldn't see the error of my ways. Just get my hands to do what I want now. Seriously? I'm remembering. There we go. Yeah. Angle while you walk. Let your joy be what kills them. Jingle while you walk. Okay, so I stopped kicking that. There's my watch charger. That should go in this thing here. The important stuff. This cord is possibly no function, so this needs to go in the cat food. Oh, really, this shit's tough to get into. My hair is still wet. Little scissors. There you go. Cords to things that I don't know. Okay. Jingling. That's better. This stuff needs to move down a smidgen. And just made it money like as much as possible. Help ourselves with the super sharp stuff. Okay, perfect. This stuff can come over here. That drinks anyway. Thank you, Past Heather. All right, so what I'm doing. You guys, Money's pregnant. You both should fly here and pick up one of the kittens. Super thirsty, apparently. Sorry your kitty died, Holmes. I'm super nervous about all this. So what I'm going to be doing, chart, move you to a new location where you can get a better idea what's going on here. So I'm moving that black shelf to that spot right there. So that's what we're doing. Oh, my ears are still wet. This can pretty much stay how it is. I just need to make sure it's not going to get knocked down. Like that. No way. Yes, word. Fuck yeah, I'm looking for that. I'm gonna try and make this like a smooth transition. this stuff's gotta go. Oh, I'm gonna separate the stuff that I can use. I'm up to here recently. I'm sorry, buddy. You gotta stay outside for right now. I know. I know. I know. Put stuff right where you're getting stuck, Heather. That's always a good idea. Yeah, I didn't screw it down. Oh, I screwed it down. Yarn, yarn, mom, yarn. Boom. Yeah. Just pull it right off the edge there, Heather. I know, I hear you. Yes, I do, I hear you. It worked! Shit there for now. Holy crap, that gave me so much light. Now I can do the thing I need to do. Okay. I'm freaking busy! Hold on, I'm coming! Let me go through all of my yarn. Yes, sir, I hear you, I do. Mm-hmm. This stuff's got traits. It's gonna be perfect. This crap. Where is my... Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Okay, let's go get the fucking dog. No, he's not nowhere to go. Okay. Gotta move you so that I can... I'm coming! Go back. I have so many places to stash shit. I'm not a fast person, okay? Yay, it didn't fall off. Okay. Coming. Hold on. Okay, go. Whoa. All right, go. Can you get on your bed? Go. Or at least bed. Okay, don't stare at me like I'm silly. There you go. Okay. Now. I need to do something about the smell of air not moving in here. It's in, and I'll immediately get this fucking thing going. Oh. Break. Still pretty plugged in. Just going here in a second. There's some water. Shit, I forgot to go pick up fucking oil from Tiff. Ah! Out. Oops, everything's turned off, I forget. Yay, everything's turning back on. Yay, okay, good. Big work! Okay. I'll be using more, we'll see. So, the long ones are on the top and the bottom. And the short ones go up and down. See, I wouldn't have thought of that. Oh yeah, it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect. All right. So we need one biggie and one small. Crazy right. There we go. Should have got my razor now. Right there. That's right. So. What? Ah. Ah. It's kind of tilty. Probably not the best idea to be breathing that in. Okay. Start with the most sensible options. Making sure everything fits. Yes, it does. Oh my fucking god, this is just amazing. Okay. Sort of see what's going on here. I'm gonna get my over first. What do you use to stop that from happening there? Oh, it's to tighten it while that's happening. Is there another little pad in here? No, but they can give you an extra screw, but just. Interesting, interesting. actually think I want to put nothing up over there. Wait, I can't. Oh yeah, it's not supposed to be on that. Derp ski. Okay, that's the way. You're having mental fatigue, Heather. You're gonna doing that shit. Which I must say is your specialty. Okay. Ah, okay. That side is down and stuff. And then do we use another one of these guys? Yes. It's crazy work how that does it. That's not supposed to happen, friend. I'm just gonna go on a limb and say that's not supposed to happen, okay? Get down here. What are you doing that? What are you doing? Stop doing that. Thank you. Okay. In. Now we're gonna get low. Just like that. And so let's start with this to be in. Capiche? Okay, let's see if this to be. No, you're not supposed to friggin' turn fully like that, though. You're supposed to stop right there. It's lifting up, which is what we wanted there. Okay. Now, use one of these guys. Two of these guys. Use attache. This to this. I need to be very specific. Use the correct one. Yeah, you actually grabbed two of the right ones. Oops and a poops. That's not right. All I wanna do is zoom, 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 wanna boom, boom. Just change the room. Just pretend like I do, in fact, have two hands or 6 hands. That would be great. And the way we're supposed to be, looks like it. You know, right? I just don't feel like that's not right. Yep, that's right. It's because your brain cells are desperately trying to fire off at one another, Heather. Is that right? Yes. My like 2 brain cells firing off at one another. As long as I can catch the lip right there, we're doing good. Okay. That's mania setting in. I can do anything. I put it on the right side. Good job. Okay, I think that putting this on very straight is extremely important. Oh, Heather Jane. Too much. It's the bottom. Just have to say, I'm not quite a huge fan of, what are they called? Friggin' thingies that I'm using right now. Tool. The biggest spoon. About Allen keys over there. Oh, this one's pretty cool. The way it like lets you use it, you know, from an angle. You know? Okay. What a thing. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's the mania. When the moon hits the light like a big pizza pie, that's bruh. Make sure it's in here. Open it. am going good. And you unlocked it? Yep, for being braggadocious. There you go. This was just the download one. Hello. I think it's time for some sound. Hello and welcome. Oops.
Gratefully, his resurrection. And there's never been a Halloween. It's clear that violence is not the answer. And the world, yeah. I'm sorry? Well, the power of the world is an answer. That is what threatens them, and that's what they don't.
I'm only seeing like members' comments.
Minds of just everyday people. They don't want that word to get out there that war isn't the answer. Sometimes the church, the Catholic Church has this doctrine, justifiable war, which is pretty strict, pretty clear, and probably and there's serious questions about this war. I think it's pretty much unqualified. But that's what we have to keep looking at. Look at the principles and really encourage your viewers and all of us. I mean, I'm just one of the viewers in many situations. I'm a bishop who doesn't even have a diocese anymore, but I do have an apostolic call that I take very seriously. And I say to myself, to you, Tucker, as a good man seeking truth, and all of us who are in this, we need to take a breath. We need to calm our hearts. We need to simply seek the truth. I believe, and I feel compelled to proclaim to the world, we know the truth. The truth sets us free. It's Jesus Christ. And certainly, That was the threat that the Romans and the Jewish leaders wanted to get rid of. That's historic reality. They plotted to rid themselves of this truth problem. And in many ways, we see the same thing repeated. I mean, it gets masked in a lot of ways, but yes. Oh, and I'm praying daily for the leaders of the world, for every nation, for leaders who have the power and the responsibility in this moment to go back to those basic principles. They need to take a deep breath and ask themselves, is this true? What I'm promoting, what I'm doing, is it about the truth that sets us free? And when we ignore the truth, that is when we are the most bound by violence and evil. And we're seeing it played out in our lifetime, right in these moments, on the TV screen, on our phone screens, on the airwaves. We're seeing ignoring truth has consequences, and it comes down to each of us individually. When we ignored the truth that I am a sinful man who needs to repent and I need to seek the life that is Jesus Christ, when we try to hide that, to ignore it, to eliminate it, it doesn't go away. It will not be eliminated any more than killing Jesus Christ on a cross in the first century eliminated the truth that he is. Truth will not be eliminated, but a lot of innocence can be harmed when we think we can do it with our power. When we go down that path, it's destructive in so many ways, even to those individuals that are doing it. But the tragedy is the so many innocents that get lost in it, that we must against innocent lives being just.
Come on, get in there. My hands don't like these damn ratchet things.
In itself says we have to be very careful about allowing our hearts to harden. That we just use terminology. Innocent.
I fucking did it. I can't believe I did it. And I just realized that I need to
go back for a second. As a Protestant, myself is often the term just war theory.
Okay, so
which
got it put together.
I could be wrong.
On my own.
Can you summarize that for
Yeah.
with what it is, just in broad terms? What's a justified war?
Well, there are four basic points, and I can't claim that I can get all of them as, it's pretty simple. Most of the time, it's
just put it wherever I want it.
But it has to be, the just war theory is based on if war, which should be avoided if at all possible, if it is to be justified, it has to be proportionate. It has to be, it can't be preemptive. It really, Tucker goes back in a lot of ways to the right to self-defense, the right to self-defense of one person, the right to self-defense of a nation. That is really the core of the just war theory. It has to be a real threat, not a perceived threat, not a future threat, but a real threat. It has to be in proportion. I mean, putting it on the just person to person context. I mean, somebody slaps you, you don't shoot them. That is not proportional.
Yes.
You have to avoid harming innocents that are really have nothing to do with whatever conflict is in any direct way. Um, and so those basic points are what you have to look at. It has to have a reasonable expectation of success, that this will accomplish the protection of innocence that it should be about. Those points are what we have to keep looking at. And like I said, there probably aren't many wars in human history that would qualify as meeting all of the criteria. Some meet more than others. But I don't know that this present conflict, they're not even calling it a war, and I think that tells us something. But this present conflict, I don't know that it qualifies on any of those points. Because, yes, there was some threat there, but was it justifiable to immediately address that threat, which seemed to be a future threat that may have been very real. I don't claim to know all of that, but I think the leaders are challenged to really look more deeply at that. And certainly the idea that of protecting innocence, honestly, I mean, and again, I haven't been in any war rooms or heard the real discussion, but it it seems, and what we're seeing, it's like we can expect and we can plan for the collateral damage, which should be always stated as we can plan for innocence to die because of this action. Because that's what collateral damage really is talking about. So that I think is a reasonable, probably not the most scholarly exposition of the just war theory, but those are the basic points. And again, if people say, "Oh, it gets so complicated," just think about defending yourself, defending your home, defending your family. You can't go out and you have a neighbor that's talking crazy and go and put a bomb in their front yard. I mean, that's not proportionate. That is not reasonable. And it has to be something that is a reasonable and I think one of the greatest points of the just war theory is it likely to be successful? Is it likely to have an outcome that brings more peace, more protection, not just to the individuals that you're specifically responsible for, brings it to the world? And so I think that we've got to honestly assess what is happening and acknowledge that no nation seems to be really, and I love the United States. I was raised as a patriotic kid. I still believe in a lot of the principles, but when we lose sight of the basic principles of our founding as a nation or as of our faith of Christianity or whatever our faith is, the basic principles have to guide us. And we can't allow popular opinion or political agendas to override those basic moral values that should be the pillars that found us, that stabilize everything that is shaking in the world today.
A lot of people hesitate before getting traditional therapies for cholesterol health. They don't want to wind up stuck on capsules for the rest of their lives. Pills, they'd rather feel like they have some say in how they take care of their own bodies. And that's why more Americans are turning to more gentle alternatives with ingredients they recognize. Ingredients like ginger and pomegranate. One of those alternatives is a dose for cholesterol. Dose for cholesterol is a clinically backed cholesterol support supplement that targets triglycerides, LDL, HDL, and total cholesterol levels.
Watch out, me now. You're gonna get hurt.
People use it, and the results have been overwhelming. They no longer fear having blood work done because at last the results are good. And they're not on some kind of weird chemical cocktail. It actually works.
Sure wish I had my drill right now.
Use as a daily 2-ounce liquid shot that tastes like a mango. Ooh. No capsules, no powders. It's seamless to use. Visit dosedaily.co/Tucker. Use code Tucker for 35% off. That's dosedaily.co/Tucker, code Tucker for 35% off. It's worth it. So this morning, the president of the United States, whom I campaigned for and defended daily for 11 years, not attacking him, but he issued a statement threatening to destroy the civilian infrastructure of Iran, including the desalination plants and energy grid of Iran. And that seems to be a threat against innocence. I don't know any other way to read it.
Righty then.
To assess that. Is that consistent with the just war?
No, and as you said, Tucker, we have to acknowledge that it is to directly do that is wrong. Is immoral. Going back to that basic principle I started with. Anytime civilian life is devastated, it's not done morally. It's not something we can just turn a blind eye and say, well, we got to do this. The large scale destruction of civilian lives is never morally justified. Like I said, if I'm a broken record making that point, I believe I need to be because the more I think about that, the more I pray about that, the more I look at what's happening. It says, let's put a stop to this. Let's pull back from this. And I understand from what I see in the news that there are efforts of talking about some sort of solutions, but the talk seems to always have much less focus and much less power behind it than the bombs and the destructive forces. I guess that is, by human nature, maybe that's somewhat natural that when you've got the power, it's hard to restrain yourself from using it. We see that played out in so many ways. But that is where the moral values have to kick in for the individual man or the individual nation and the leader that is a man or a group of men and women that are leading a nation. They need to constantly go back to those principles and asking themselves, is this justifiable? Is this something that is moral to do? And if it's not moral, then we should just put up a big bright red stop sign and say, we're not going to do this because it is morally questionable, much less clearly immoral. And when we go down the path of saying, well, we've got to do some immoral things, I mean, it's like the end justifies the means. I mean, some basic principles of philosophical, logical thought that have guided nations and individuals through history. If we
If
get
you
past
were your sewing scissors, where would you
the means have become so immoral that it's just we have to for not just the individuals or the nations of for all of humanity. Got to be very cautious about going down that path. And I'm afraid that many of the things that we've seen have crossed that line of just saying, we believe, yeah, this is evil. Okay, it's evil, but we've got to do it for the good. That
I'm
is
pretty excited.
Also common, I think. I mean, people, as you said, who have power tend to misuse it, an often noted phenomenon because it's true. What's different, at least in my lifetime, is seeing self-described Christian leaders not only defend violence, but attack anyone who questions its use and then use the Bible to justify it. So I guess what I'm saying is one of the battles here is over what Christianity is as a faith. And that seems to me a very important battle, certainly a conversation. So what you're seeing some Christian leaders do is say, well, there's violence throughout the Bible. And God justifies it, in some cases, defends it through what the Christians call the Old Testament. From beginning to end, there's violence against innocents. So it's therefore okay. What is your response to that?
Well, Tucker, quite simply, probably not surprising, my response is Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
If we claim, which I do, and I do my best. I mean, I'm a sinner. I mess up all the time. We do individually if we're smart enough to be humble enough to acknowledge that. We as nations and we as individuals, we get off the mark. We mess up, but we can always repent of that and seek again to follow the truth that is Christ. And that's the distinction that I would make. If people are calling themselves Christians, we are of the body of Christ that is his church. And we have to look to him. Yes, in the Old Testament there are many examples of destructive power, but that is not the world that we live in. We believe that Jesus Christ has redeemed everything. And one of the key points of Jesus Christ, and St. Paul says it very well. We are neither Greek nor Roman. We are not individual nation. We are Christian. And to use Christianity as a weapon against one part of its body to another part of its body that's a misuse of the message of Jesus Christ. If we look to him, I mean, he died on a cross because he embraced them. freely as a man and as the Son of God. But he was willing to do that. He was willing to personally receive the greatest violence of destroying his body and his human life for the sake of the peace that he brings. And if we look to Jesus Christ, we can't justify the violence that we're seeing. You can harken back to the Old Testament, but if you believe Jesus Christ is the new covenant, then he came out of that world of the Old Testament. He is of Hebrew origin, and we should embrace that absolutely. That is historical reality. But he came to bring a new covenant and to bring a redemption of all of that. And just one example of what Christ, if we look to Christ, he's often saying, yes, we used to do this, but this is the new way that through the Father sending me to you is being revealed. It used to be an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That cannot be that way with us. He says to his disciples, and we have to really listen to that. We may not like listening to Christ himself, but that is what we're called to, especially if we call ourselves Christian. That is probably, as you point out, Tucker, one of the greatest issues that we have to face now, because there are many non-Christians in the world. And for Christianity to be really co-opted and hijacked in the way that we're seeing, is destructive to the message of truth that is Jesus Christ. Because I can imagine people saying, well, if this is what Christianity is really all about, I had considered it, but I'm not going to even look at Christianity if that's what it's about. It's not what it's about. But when voices are saying we can go again, going back to that basic idea of we can destroy civilians violently and in drastic ways and say that it's moral because we're claiming to be Christian, that's nonsensical, and it's offensive to Christ himself as anything could be. He is a man of peace, and that it doesn't mean just let yourself be run over, but real peace is about respecting the our lives and the lives of others, and always seeking without violence to embrace the truth that sets us free. So I guess what I would say to Christians that are claiming sort of Old Testament justification, show me that in Christ, and they're not going to find it.
So it's rare these days. A company that actually makes things here in the U.S., not just designed here or assembled here, actually manufactured here, start to finish in the United States. Brooklyn Bedding builds every mattress in their factory in Arizona, not in the Far East, in Arizona. No middlemen, no cutting corners, no outsourcing to save a buck. The founder started with nothing, no degree, no corporate backing, just learned the craft, built a factory, created a product that actually works. That's the American story. We ought to support it, and we do. And here we love the Thermobalance mattress collection. It's made a huge difference in the quality of the sleep of a lot of people who work here. And we're waking up hot in the middle of the night thanks to their cooling technology. Your back feels better when you wake up. They're endorsed, in fact, by the American Chiropractic Association. So it's not just marketing. Nice to try it out. That's a lot. If you don't love it, they take it back or swap it out. No hassle. That's how confident they are. Visit brooklynbedding.com. Use the promo code Tucker at checkout for 30% off site-wide. This offer not available anywhere else. It doesn't seem like this is an effort to co-opt Christianity and change world's understanding of Jesus. And it seems like Holy Week maybe is particularly hard for people who want to do that, because the whole message of Holy Week is the opposite. You're the theologian, but I think Jesus is coming into Jerusalem at a time when it's occupied by foreign pagan authorities that are oppressing the people of Jerusalem. And a lot of people watching assumed Jesus was going to liberate the city in some using force. He was the king, but he doesn't come in on a war horse. He comes in on a donkey and then submits being tortured to death because the victory is larger than a military victory. It's a final victory. It's a spiritual victory. And that seems like the message as a, as a non-theologian Protestant, that seems like a very clear message. But you tell me, is that the message?
Becker, you are spot on. And that's why I mentioned earlier in our conversation, Holy Week is a week of drama. It's a week of waking up and realizing the real message of Jesus Christ. I mean, the whole passion story of Christ is the elements there. I mean, we have Judas Iscariot, who why did he betray Christ? I mean, I don't claim to be able to read his mind or his heart, but the indications are he betrayed Christ because he wanted the kind of military leader that many wanted. Christ's triumphant entry into Jerusalem is it's a very interesting scene that we need to constantly go back to and look at in terms of what's really going on. Just before Christ, as recorded in Scripture, just before Christ enters triumphantly into Jerusalem, the verses are talking about the authorities seeking and plotting to assassinate Lazarus, the one he had raised from the dead. And so,
one of the which is one of the most it described in John, and it's one of the most interesting passages in the entire Bible. Jesus has just raised this man from the dead 4 days after his death. One of the amazing things he did, the guy's alive, and the religious authorities want to murder him. It's like, sorry, excuse me. It's amazing.
It really is, and the drama is right there. We have to see it and recognize the way it continues to unfold in our lives. I mean, I don't want to label anyone Judas Iscariot, but we need to ask ourselves.
Needs to be tighter. That's okay for now.
Are we beginning to move in the direction that Judas Iscariot would have approved?
I should.
When we are saying,
Wait.
we want, hail Jesus, hail to the Son of David, but we want to shape the Son of David according to our agenda. That is where it gets very dangerous, and it culminates in destruction for Judas Iscariot and destruction for Christ. Because he is God's divine, world can throw at him, can't destroy him because he's beyond creation. He is the Lord of creation, but he allows it to happen out of love to all of us. And in it's just so rich with images that can be beneficial to all of us. But for us to hear Christ,
Mama, I love you so much. I wish I had a baby carrier to put on my body.
For the Catholic Church, for Christians, to hear Christ say to those who are literally in the moment,
I wish I had a carrier to put on my body so that I could put you on me.
Forgiven, they know not what they do. To have that kind of mercy and compassion in your heart is, and we've seen some saints that have echoed it. Saint Stephen, the first martyr, echoed his Lord in saying that. But that is, again, going back to where's the threat? That was a very threatening sentiment. When
this is gonna have to live.
When the world thinks
the other one,
powers of the world can ultimately prevail. To hear the man being destroyed by the world saying, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. It reminds us that we've got to retune our hearts and our minds to the message of Jesus Christ and to face everything we're facing. It's like Holy Week being played out again at writ large in our time. The hidden messages and the plottings and the confusing. I mean, here we have things being hailed as wonderful, and then underneath it, the
others
underbelly
down.
is a darkness, hiding the destruction of innocence and the destruction of lives that really have nothing to do with it. So
More space.
let's go back to
Okay,
that.
we'll just do that first.
We have to, I mean,
Anything
it
else?
has to be the large scale destruction of civilian life can never be morally justified. And, you know, with Christ, I mean, it was one man. But in terms of reality, in terms of the universe, trying to kill
Like little organizing trays
Son
of
of God,
my stuff.
Jesus of Nazareth, killing him. I mean, they were successful in killing him. He died on the cross. But that is large scale destruction of innocent life, civilian life. And that is the principle we have to keep going back to.
So
Really looking at everything through that lens and urging the leaders of Israel, the leaders of the United States, the leaders of Europe, the leaders of the world to come together and to listen to the words of Jesus Christ, even those who don't believe him, because they are true words.
That's what I was saying. Like, even if you don't believe in Jesus, like as the Son of God or whatever, he has like a lot of really good things to say. So, like, just generally, it's not a bad idea to like try to emulate what Christ would do. You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't that just make sense? Okay. Anyways, I'm over the fucking. I thought it was going to be something interesting about the war, but instead it is, in fact, just a bunch of stuff about Jesus, which whatever. It's just a. Okay, so let's prepare these balls of yarn because we need to. And then we'll start a little bit and see what happens. And the reason why I'm live streaming this is so that I have video footage of the very first time, because I won't set up a camera. I'll forget to like put on my fancy stuff, try to get like real footage or like real content. That should be sufficient. I wish you had. Oh, you know what I do? How gosh darn perfect is this? Oh my god, yes. Okay. Okay. Of course, I didn't cut it, Yeah. Okay, that one's a dud. 3 times. Probably should have taped it. That probably be better. Oh yeah, mama. Look at that. And then my center pole is right there if I want it. Boom. Sometimes I have little moments of genius. It's not too common, but it happens. Real men of genius. Mr. Bowling Ball Picker Upper. Okay. So this is me testing a new hobby. I have no idea what I'm doing at all. Just me trying to learn something new, and I'm gonna learn it anyway, whether I like it or not. It's kind of where we're at. Scooch over. Hi, I love you so much. Can't wait to get a better situation for that stuff. Okay, dreadlock tool. This thing. Go there. Oh, let's see. It's the bowling ball picker upper. Excuse me, madam. All right. So technically, I need to figure out how I'm gonna be able to project my shit from here. I'm gonna have all this stuff so that I can put that stuff there. Or yeah, that's pretty much what I'm gonna have to do. Let's see. Please don't rub up against that money. You're gonna get hurt. It like has like literal spikes coming out of it. Or you're gonna rub up against it in there. So you have food over here, you know that, right? Hopefully, period is being good to me right now. Honey, you're grabbing like threads and stuff. No, no, no. How about you come over here? How about that? Okay, you don't want to be there. I figured that would be your next move. Okay. I don't know what to watch. Oh my god, Candace! What time is it? Candace. Oh no! Saw it too early. Today's Monday? No, today's Monday? Bummer, dude. I guess we'll watch this.
Artists thought that one hit record would change their lives for the better. Little did they know it would actually make their lives much harder. The music industry is brutal, and hit songs create expectations that most artists can never live up to. So today we're going to look at the dark reality of going from a nobody to world famous overnight, and how almost all of them ended in disaster. Starting with Gautier, who went from Billboard #1 to somebody that you used to know. During a hiatus with his indie pop band, The Basics, Australian songwriter Gautier began working on his third solo album, Making Mirrors. The second lead single, Somebody That I Used to Know, was entirely written and produced by Gautier in his parents' barn. After singer Kimbra laid down the second verse, Gautier knew the song had a lot of potential, but he never could have predicted that he was sitting on a global hit. In the music video, they stand in front of a flat background while their bodies are slowly painted to blend into a geometric mural behind them, like camouflage. The subtle nudity of simple yet striking visual caused the video to soar into the YouTube algorithm in 2011, quickly becoming the third most liked YouTube video.
Are you serious?
For almost immediately, you could see that Gautier could care less about the superficial numbers associated with his song.
Really likes things like, you know, on Facebook or YouTube.
Damn it.
People don't about like and stuff. It's such a cursory thing, I think. Maybe it means more to people who are 5 years plus younger than I am, but I'm kind of like.
Bummer, dude. Okay, well, so much for that idea today.
Kept in mind, I haven't kind of gone.
Right.
Like,
A bummer. Okay, so
I mean,
I need
To countless YouTubers making parody remixes of the track.
I need
along
to
with
find
a viral meme, somebody that I used to know.
sewing oil,
did more than
and I don't know if I have any.
100 for 8 weeks. The song sold over 13 million copies globally, and it is certified platinum in over 10 countries, becoming one of the best-selling digital singles ever. And that all led to the 55th Grammy Awards, where they won Record of the Year and Best Pop Duo/Group Performance. The YouTube video, now having over 2.6 billion views, could have earned over $10 million in ad revenue, but he chose not to monetize the video. I'm not interested in selling my music. That's the reason I don't put ads on my YouTube channel, which seems strange to people in today's climate, but that is a decision you can make. Gautier's modesty was almost entirely unheard of in the music industry. He even admitted he was already growing tired of his song. He said, "Sometimes I feel like I'm a bit sick of it. It had an energy that wasn't like anything I put out before. I don't really feel like it belongs to me anymore. Everybody else kind of owns it now, especially with there being so many cover versions and parodies." He acknowledged that his song was overplayed and saturated to the point of absurdity, where I feel it's an annoying presence in
Damn
people's
it.
lives that they would prefer not to have. However, when
Okay,
he spoke
so
in interviews, he tried to hide his
to do some research, because like
sometimes it's weird hearing it come on, you know, in different places.
I have oil for my exercise machine. And that's like one of those types of just machine oils, but Lord, what is that even? I'm going to have to get sewing oil. I'm gonna have to get the right kind. That is a fucking super bummer. I didn't even think about that at all. Not even in the slightest. And that is like one of the most important things I need. Damn. My brain's cooking. Hold on. So. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, so I just have to do some real quick research to see if I can use this stuff. I can't believe I just found this. Holy fuck, Heather, I'm so proud of you right now. And the lid is off. Good girl. We found it in the nick of time. Okay, so this is My glasses. Elliot, if you were you, what would you do with my glasses? Maybe they're in here. Yes. Need some light as well. All right, so let me see here. I'm like anxious about my people. All right. Okay, let's see what the answer is here. Here's my tablet. Let's. I'm gonna have to stick on there. Okay. Where'd all these paper go, Heather? There it is.
So today I'm going to be showing you just a quick setup guide for using both the loop and cut pile touching machines. The first and one of the most important steps is to have a really good system for feeding your
I
yard.
just want to know how to oil it.
Either you have the first is a lot that. It's nice to have the machine off so that then the file back have a consistent amount of pressure.
Hey, Tough Club family, Jock here at our. So, if you oil and clean your machine, it will last indefinitely. I love it out with the air that they have there. Right? Mineral based, I recommend 3-in-1. I like the one with this spout, so it gives me better kind of access to oiling the machine. So the first thing we do is we put a drop of oil in front and behind each one of these little plastic sliders. And this is really just to lubricate the rails on the machine. That eliminates frictional heat. You can turn the machine on and cycle it now.
Okay. think I can get away with this. So I'm going to try. I am fucking scared of shit. How do you do that manually? You can't now. You can do. There we go. Where's this? We gotta make something. Wonder if this is too heavy for. Ugh. Okay, so maybe we'll hopefully not impale ourselves. Okay. Mm. Holy shit. I'll go with this one. No, wait. Placement parts, excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. What was any of that stuff? Okay. So I guess the only thing to do is plug it in. Like nervous and anxious. Yeah, the tiny dogs are just always barking. Somehow they are. Find out later about. Let's go down. Let's go down. Okay, let me find a place to test this. nervous about using the wrong stuff. No, dude, I'm nervous. I'm not gonna use this on my gun because, like, it's like gel, and it says specifically don't use anything that's like gel. And so I'm gonna trust. After I opened it, you made it totally unsafe to like store the way I had been storing it. Yeah, I'm not gonna take the chance. I'm gonna go see if Adam has something. I'll be back in a few minutes. Come with me, Rio. Cancel on the laptop and then close it. Hey. Oh, sorry about that. I'm not trying to break nothing here. Frick. It. That's helpful. That's helpful. Damn it. Look. In there, Heather. I do not have any 3-in-1 oil or like anything like that. So I have to be a patient girl and I have to wait. And that's totally fine because I am perfectly happy and comfortable with being patient. I'd rather do things patiently than impatiently and rush the process, ruin things for myself. So I don't want to ruin this machine. So I'm going to put it away safely and somewhere. Tuck it in a little baby. So it is safe and sound, cozy. And we shall mulligan. Because I will go get some of that ale tomorrow. Alright, well anyways, I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go to bed. Man, I look tired today.